Welcome to Important Updates, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you are new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an update. I don't think people understand just how much the global energy landscape can shift overnight. Before dawn in Tianjin, a colossal vessel, the RR, glides silently into port. It's not loaded with consumer goods, but with something far more critical: 174,000 cubic meters of liquefied natural gas, LNG. Super chilled and shipped from Australia, this fuel is a lifeline for China's energy-hungry cities. Dock workers swiftly connect pipes, transferring the LNG to onshore storage. This single shipment can power millions of homes, factories, and businesses for days. For Beijing and beyond, it's the fuel that keeps the city running and the skies clearer. Not long ago, these ships often came from the US. Now, most fly the Australian flag. This shift is no accident, but the result of policy, trade disputes, and a strategic pivot in Asia-Pacific energy. Each tanker is a symbol of geopolitics and national strategy at work. As the unloads, it marks a new era, Australia stepping in where the US stepped back. The story of this ship is the story of how Australia became China's indispensable energy supplier. And with every arrival, the balance of power in the region quietly shifts. To understand this shift, let's break down LNG. Natural gas, mostly methane, is cooled to -162 degrees, turning it into a liquid and shrinking its volume 600-fold. This makes it possible to ship vast amounts across oceans. At its destination, LNG is warmed, regasified, and piped to power plants, factories, and homes. LNG is cleaner than coal and more flexible than pipelines, crucial for a country like China. China's rapid growth and pollution crisis forced a pivot from coal to cleaner fuels. Domestic gas production can't keep up, so LNG imports are essential. It powers cities, heats homes, and keeps industries running. For China, a stable LNG supply is vital for economic growth, cleaner air, and social stability. Not long ago, the US was set to dominate China's LNG market. The American shale revolution turned the US into a major exporter, with Asia and China its prime target. The first US LNG shipment arrived in China in 2016, sparking hopes for a long, lucrative partnership. American LNG meant jobs, investment, and a new era of energy trade. But this promising relationship unraveled quickly. Political tensions and trade disputes overshadowed economic logic. Tankers slowed, contracts lapsed, and the energy bridge between the two giants began to crumble. The foundation, mutual benefit, proved fragile. The US-China LNG dream faded, undone by forces beyond the market. The door to China's vast energy market was closing. The US-China LNG trade collapsed as the trade war escalated in 2018. China slapped tariffs on American LNG, making it instantly uncompetitive. Chinese importers, wary of political risk, stopped signing new contracts with US suppliers. For China, energy security trumped all. Relying on a rival was too risky. Orders were canceled, contracts left to expire, and China sought more reliable partners. The US became a risky bet, not a preferred supplier. Strategic decoupling took hold. Energy became a tool of competition, not cooperation. American companies struggled to finance new export projects with China off-limits. LNG cargoes were rerouted to Europe and Latin America, often at lower prices. The grand vision of American LNG fueling China's growth vanished. The US ceded the world's fastest-growing energy market, not for lack of supply, but due to politics. The door slammed shut, and Australia was ready to walk through. the US lost its chance to shape Asia's energy future. As the US stepped back, Australia surged forward. With vast offshore gas fields and decades of investment, Australia was ready. Its proximity to China meant faster, cheaper deliveries. Chinese buyers, seeking stability, turned to Australia. Australian LNG exports to China soared, filling the gap left by the US. By 2023, Australia supplied nearly 40% of China's LNG imports. Tankers like the Northwest Sandpiper now arrive in China almost every other day. Long-term contracts replaced those once held by American suppliers. For Australia, it meant a secure, lucrative market. For China, a dependable energy source. This wasn't just a temporary shift, it was a fundamental realignment in Asia-Pacific energy. The shift created clear winners and losers. Australia's LNG industry boomed, securing jobs, tax revenue, and global leadership. Chinese demand stabilized Australia's massive projects and boosted its economy. The US, meanwhile, lost out on billions in sales and long-term contracts. American LNG found new buyers in Europe, but the premium Asian market was gone. Some US projects stalled or were canceled, slowing industry growth. The chance to use energy exports to reduce the US trade deficit with China slipped away. Energy ties that could have deepened US-China relations disappeared. Australia locked in the world's largest LNG buyer. The US lost a key point of leverage. The trade war handed Australia a golden opportunity. The energy map of the region was redrawn. For China, the switch to Australian LNG was about security. Energy supply disruptions are unthinkable for a nation of 1.4 billion. The trade war exposed the risk of relying on a geopolitical rival. Australia, seen as stable and reliable, became China's top supplier. China diversified further, importing from Qatar, Malaysia, and Russia, and expanding domestic production. Long-term contracts with Australia helped shield China from global price shocks. Stable prices kept inflation in check and ensured social stability. But true energy independence remains elusive. China's quest for security is ongoing. The US to Australia LNG switch reshaped global energy flows. Australia became China's main supplier, forging a powerful Asia-Pacific energy axis. US LNG, shut out of China, flowed to Europe instead. The global LNG market split along geopolitical lines, not just economic ones. Long-term contracts now signal political alignment as much as commercial interest. Countries are choosing suppliers for reliability, not just price. The pandemic and rising tensions have pushed nations to regionalize supply chains. The world is fragmenting into economic blocs centered on major powers. Australia works to maintain its lead, while others like Qatar and Russia vie for China's business. The global energy game is now multipolar, shaped by alliances as much as markets. These shifts have real impacts on everyday lives. In the US, lost LNG sales meant fewer jobs and missed prosperity in energy states. In China, Australian LNG means cleaner air, stable prices, and warmer homes. For Australia, LNG wealth brings jobs and growth, but also environmental debates and economic dependence. The story of one commodity links three nations, shaped by politics, economics, and the pursuit of security. Trade relationships can change overnight, reshaping economies and lives. The path of energy is shaped by power and diplomacy. Each LNG tanker's journey is a story of closed doors, new opportunities, and the ever-shifting global economy.